I am first generation college, so no one else in my family has gone. And you know, we write these papers and these books, and if you saw my office, it looks like a typhoon may have hit it, you know, and so, why don't we just stop that? You know, and so I had this sense of my colleagues, women, particularly black women, who are under a lot of stress, and people were dying. And I thought, well, if I die tomorrow, what happens to my material? What happens to my stuff? And what's going to happen to their things? And all the work that's gone in it could get thrown away, because I've done research on Zora Neale Hurston, who is a black art writer and anthropologist, and some of her stuff almost got burned. You know, we now see her as a really important figure, but her stuff almost got burned up. Someone just happened to remember that she died penniless, but at one point she was fairly well known. Well, what's going to happen to our stuff? So I began to think about this, and in some ways I've been thinking about it. I've saved letters and cards, and I have all the drafts of my papers for my books, and I've been telling my colleagues, you know, you need to like document and preserve and digitize your things. So I've kind of been spreading this message. And I literally just one day picked up the phone and called the librarian. I'd gotten one of their magazines and saw all the things that they were doing. And I thought, wow, this is kind of, they're doing some cool stuff. You know, this would be a great place. You know, I could put it in my undergraduate college, but nobody's going to go to Grinnell, Iowa to look for anything, really. So it really needs to be in a research library. And so I just did a cold call to the librarian, who the director of special collections in the University Archives, and I said, I've got this idea, and he listened, and you know, he said, wow. And then the next day, he wrote me like a 2-page email that said, you just made my day. This is exactly the kind of thing we want to do. So we have been in partnership. You know, he actually designed the brochure, and we have been in partnership about how to collect this material. I am on a mission, and so everywhere I go, I say to black women, women of color, even to the indigenous women that I've met, how are you documenting this? Where is it going to be preserved? Because if it's not saved, the next generation won't have access to it. And so my colleagues and I, we have a panel program, a conference panel that we've given at the National Women's Studies Association, the African American Intellectual History Society. We're going to be doing some form of it everywhere we go. We are trying to spread the message that the work you do is important. If you're an activist, the speeches you give, the posters you make, that is all material that history is going to be made from. And if you don't preserve it, other people will write your history for you. And they may not tell it the way that you want to be told. So archiving for me is very important. And it's also to say that the work we do as intellectuals has value. You know, as writers, as teachers, you know, the curriculum, compare what would the curriculum, you know, 25 years ago. How do you know that there's been change if you don't preserve it, if it doesn't get documented? You know, so I think that the work you're doing in keep preserving those stories, you know, about the Fulbright experience, it'll be interesting, say in 5 years or 10 years, to see how much has changed. You know, has the fact that you've had this body of people come through here and interact with folks in Taiwan, has that shifted anything? You know, has it shifted the kind of experience because people are more exposed to having people come from the outside, that how they look at folks and how they talk to people and how they think about things, you know, it's actually shifted. Has the teaching pedagogy changed because of the interaction with people from other, you know, communities or other societies or groups? You know, those are really all important things. So I'm going to stop now and open it up for questions or comments or feedback, and you can take one and pass